I fully agree with your analysis. China has very negative narrative toward NATO. In addition to your analysis, probably I can add one point from ideological perspective. Actually, China is trying to build a united front against United States because now US is perceived as the main enemy, if we can use this word, of China. So China has to do everything and anything to attract EU to be at least neutral, okay? So this is an old tradition of the United Front because Chairman Mao has one very famous sentence. Why has the Chinese Communist Party seized the power? Because of three magic weapons. The first is United Front, and the second is the armed struggle, and the third is the party building. And the United Front is the first magical weapon of Chinese Communist Party. I mean, Chinese perception toward NATO can be a misperception from my perspective because they always claim that the US is the dominant power inside NATO. US is a hegemony and European countries are just the instrument of the US for its hegemony. From my perspective, this can be misperception because NATO was originally an idea of Western European countries, not the US. The first Secretary General of NATO, Lord Ismail, a British man, he has one very famous sentence. The purpose of NATO is let Americans in, Russians out, Germans down. So actually, the Western Europeans has the fear that the US force will withdraw from Europe after World War II. If you always claim, okay, European countries are just the dog of the US, this could be a misperception. Actually, the decision-making mechanism of NATO is consensus. Right now, Sweden wants to join NATO if the Turkey is against that decision. Although the US is very powerful, but they cannot force Turkey to do that. Just one point from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. You're absolutely correct. I also don't quite applaud the choice of narrative building in with regards to NATO and China, but these are not my narratives. This is what I see when I analyze state discourse. So this is how China does perceive NATO. I also think that it's not the smartest approach they could take because on the one hand, they do hope to at least have the EU be neutral with them. But then if you constantly perceive them as deprived of agency, this may not sit well because you're downgrading the European states and their ability to make their own decisions in the process as well. So I do agree with you that it could be a misconception that all the European member states of NATO are dominated by the US, but this is nonetheless the state discourse in China as of now. Whether or not it's objective, how factually accurate it is a different question, but the purpose of my presentation was to present the state of play in state narratives, but I agree with you that it's a misconception and it's not very smart to go with this particular approach to narrative building. So thank you.